Alright, hopefully this works. Oh, I don't think it's going to. Oh, yay. Okay. I think we're on live. There we go. Okay. Mercury is definitely in retrograde, right? Or getting ready to go into retrograde. um, oh, the fun of electronics during retrogrades, right? All right, so hello, welcome. Happy Monday or whatever day that you are watching this. Um, I hope all of you are doing well. You know, we're coming towards the end of the year and we're getting ready to go more within as we start going into more winter weather and all of that. And like I said, we're in the shadow of Mercury in retrograde right now, which is always an interesting time. I know it brings up or can bring up a lot of old wounds, old stories, those kinds of things. So remember just to breathe. This too shall pass. And maybe it's a time to really look at the stories that are coming up that need to be healed and moved out of the way or just let go of. Um, I have a couple of things I guess we're going to talk about today because I might have talked about this last week. But, our brains love to tell our stories, right? And our brain is meant to keep us safe. And so it likes to replay old stories. And I have found that as my brain is restoring them, I'm like, or replaying them, I don't need those stories anymore. Um, some of the things that I get where it was trying to keep me safe, but it's not a story that I need. It's not helpful, it's not useful. And so I've just started imagining deleting those. Because I need some more storage space in my brain. And why am I holding on to the things that are not useful? I'd rather have things come up that are useful, are needed, that help me feel better and be better. So, that's one of those little tricks I have started doing. If it's not for my highest good, it's not contributing to what I have going on, and it's just beating myself up, it's time for it to go. So, cancel, clear, delete, right? And it's interesting because I can feel my brain go, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Mm-hmm, absolutely." Well, and which is interesting because as I'm talking through all of this, we're reading "The Voice of Knowledge" by I think it's Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. I think it's one of them, and really these stories, this knowledge that my brain thinks it has, is all part of that. So it's a really interesting book. If you can't make it to book club, I'd still suggest reading it because it is very interesting and thought provoking. So, and I guess today is kind of goes along with all of that. I've been listening to a lot of their books here recently. Whether most of them we've done in book club. However, it's interesting doing them all together because they cover a lot of the same things. They may touch on, let's see, what one was I just listening to? I think it was the 5 levels of attachment. And so they were talking about knowledge in that book and all of these other things. So, and this all goes into our words. And the words and the thoughts that we use put energy out. And so you'll hear people say our words are spells. That's why it's called spelling. But it is really about putting that vibration out into the world, that energy out into the world. And how we think or what we think about. Again, if my brain's beating me up about something that it doesn't even apply to what I'm doing other than I'm driving, that's not helpful. That's not helpful one bit when it's, do you remember that time you made a mistake? Well, yeah, but that was, what, 5, 6, 10 years ago? I don't even know at this point. And it's not helping me in this moment. So, I don't want to put that kind of energy out into the world. So that's one of the reasons I am using that. I'm deleting those as well. So I hope that all makes sense. Again, Mercury is getting ready to go into retrograde, and words, right, and communications. Yep, just lost my thought. Hold on, it'll come back. I promise. um, yeah. So words are spells, and the thoughts that we put out that energy. And so if you stop and listen to maybe the story the brain is telling you, or the words that you are using, are you talking about the don't wants and don't haves and can'ts and won'ts and shouldn'ts? That was a fun word to say, shouldn'ts. Or are you focusing on the do wants, the can haves, bringing in prosperity and joy and happiness? And so I know there's been a lot of talk about how the universe doesn't hear the nts and the nots and the can'ts and all of that. And it just brings in more of that. But what if it's more that we're putting that energy out, and so that's what we're getting back? So just something to think about. That all just kind of came to me as I'm talking. So it's just an interesting thought. And when we talk about words being spells, or those energies, because really anything we're doing, and this is something we were talking about at our discussion group Friday, that if we have a crystal or an object and we're wanting it to help us use it as a tool, and we're putting a purpose into it, it's like my bracelet, and I'm going to put energy into it, but even putting a purpose into it, a purpose is energy because it's a thought. And they have shown medically and scientifically that we are all energy. I mean, as soon as we get into a hospital, if we have something going on, they do the IV, and then they usually put like the EKG on, right? And that's to keep an eye on our energy field. So we have a lot of energy too that comes from our thoughts in our brain, and it's all electrical and all that sciencey stuff. If you want to learn more about that, look into it. It's very interesting, really, how our brains work. But it's all energy. It's all vibration. And so being very mindful, one, of our thoughts and what we think and what we put out there and what we say. And then we have the narrative that goes on in our heads, our brains like to tell us, or the judges, or the victims. And so one of the things I had really been watching is the narrative that goes on. You know, that narrative that my brain's like telling me what's going on in life and what I'm seeing. And I'm like, but is that really true? And is that how I want to see it, or is that how I'm seeing it? Because, right, they talk about how eyewitness accounts aren't that reliable. Good morning, Diane. aren't that reliable because everybody sees it from their own perspective. It reminds me of that meme that has two people standing on the opposite side of a number, and one person's saying it's 9 and the other person is saying it's 6. Who's right? Who's wrong? From their perspective, they're both right, and the other person's wrong. So, I was having a conversation this morning about that as well. And about our truths. And how we've gotten into a society right now that is about my truth is the absolute truth. It is for you. And that's lovely and wonderful. But it's not for everybody. And I don't want to get on that soapbox again. But, what are our truths? What are the words we're putting out? What are the vibrations we're putting out? And so I've talked a lot about how we do these moments where we have joy, or we feel bliss or happiness or love, and that just overwhelming divine love or unconditional love, if you want to put it that way. But those are ways that we can help tap into those feelings, right? We can lasso them in, pull them in, and remember, I remember the first time I helped my child. Or that sunrise, or that sunset, or those moments. And so with that being said, let's feel one of those moments again. So if you close your eyes, if you can, put your feet on the ground. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Taking a couple of nice deep breaths all the way into the belly. And bringing in one of those memories, one of those feelings. And it can be whatever you want to feel in the moment. Gratitude, when somebody did something wonderful for you, big or small. Love, just when you were in that moment. Awe, or bliss. And allow your memory, the narrative, to pull forward a happy moment. And even if you can't remember everything, or there's spots, just allow your imagination to bring it forward. Tell that story. Let's train our brains to tell happy stories. Or maybe there was a time today or yesterday, it was a beautiful day yesterday, where you had a glimmer. And you just stopped in that glimmer and felt those good, yummy feelings. And then bringing that attention from the head to the heart. And they talk about how our heart actually has a wider range, puts out more vibration, electrical activity than our brains do. So you can put that out into your energy field from the heart. Just allowing that heart to open and allowing yourself to feel in this moment. And keeping your heart open, dropping into your second chakra, your sacral. And this is those feelings and those emotions. That's where we hold all of this. And allowing that good vibration from the gut to go out into the world, into your aura, your space. And allowing this to be your quote-unquote spell today. And if as you go through your day, you find a bracelet or a crystal or a piece of wood or anything that you can blow these feelings into, that you can use as a tool for later today or tomorrow, and every time you look at it, you feel it, you touch it, you can come back into this moment right here, right now. And again, allowing yourself in this moment or in any other moment to feel the joy, the love, the prosperity. Because allowing those vibrations to go out into the world help to bring it back into your world. And right now, I think we could use a little more good vibrations. Out in the world and in our world. Good. And even imagining as you're going through your day. So it's almost lunchtime. So maybe after lunch, putting this good yummy feeling into the future. Because time is all happening right now, right? It's not linear like we like to think of it. But putting it into that time after lunch. And maybe at 2 o'clock when we get that, okay, what time is it? How much longer do I have until I get to go home? And maybe in traffic as you're trying to get home. And if you have littles, maybe trying to get homework done or trying to get them into bed, or even you going to bed. As we like to drift off, our brains love to start recounting our day, right? That narrative, the narrator just loves to come in and tell us about all the things that went wrong in our day. So maybe we send this love and this joy and this happiness into that time, and allowing our narrative to grab hold of that. Do you remember earlier today when you sat in that happiness? When you brought that memory forward? And it doesn't matter if it's 100% real or not. Every time we bring up a story, we change it a little bit. So why not change it to make us happier, to contribute more to our lives? Good. And maybe send it into tomorrow morning as you wake up. set it with your alarm so that's where you wake up. And set that intention for the rest of your day. Yes, instead of having our alarm go off and go, ugh, and then we start our day off with an ugh. You start that day off with a yum. And think about all the amazing things you get to do for the rest of the day. Good, and breathing it in and breathing it out. Good, and breathing it in all the way down to the tips of your toes. And breathing back out again. And this time breathing it all the way in, up to the crown of your head. And breathing it all the way out again. And if you find that your mind and the narrator is starting to chatter again, just bring it back to that feeling, into the heart. And this takes practice. So if you don't get it right away, that's okay. Just keep practicing it. Keep looking for the glimmers in the life. Good. And just a couple more breaths here. And out. Good. And when you're ready, bringing that feeling back with you as you open your eyes. And this is where the challenge starts, right? Keeping that feeling as we go through the rest of our day. So even if you need to, set an alarm. And that just says happiness or bliss or love or whatever it is that you need to feel in this moment. As I'm doing this, I have the picture on Trinity that is of a sunset in Sedona, and it just made me smile. Feeling the warmth of Sedona, or the picture for the profile is in a beautiful place that looks out over the desert. It just makes my heart so warm. It makes me feel good thinking about those places and those experiences. Okay, so with all of that being said, we're going to end today with blowing into our stick. So, if there's anything, maybe a story that kept popping up, or words that kept popping up that we're not attributing, that we're not adding, that were not of higher vibrations, that kept coming up, go ahead and gather those up and blow that vibration, those feelings into the stick. and do it again if you need to. And one more time. Good. And then we will put those into the fire. Allowing them to transform, transmute. Allowing that energy to shift and change. In one of my trainings, they talked about how the energy that takes to heal is the same energy that it takes to harm. It's all about our intentions. So taking those words that may be harmful to our internal talk and allow those to transform to help our internal talk become brighter. All right, last little bit. We're going to put it in there and let it finish burning. All right, my loves. I hope that you were able to find a little love, a lot of peace. So find your piece of peace amongst the chaos. Use your words for happy spells to bring in more love and light into your world and into the world. Sending you much love, much gratitude, and we'll see you next time.